Greetings. We are reptilians and want to tell about ourselves. We are also called lizard-like, and some of us that live near the Alpha Dragon star are called Dragonians. We are one of the existence forms of conscious life in our galaxy, quite numerous. Our representatives previously developed on Earth, and even based on it a separate race, which you called dinosaurs. Recently, more and more people telepathically communicate with us, and some even physically contact. All this is associated with the restoration of the ancient memory of the Earth due to its energy activation. And those creatures that lived on Earth in the past, but then were forced to leave due to changes in the field of the planet, now again feel a connection with it and begin to return. Of course, now we are returning not to mass populate the planet, as some might think, but in order to complete what we did not have time to do, then, millions of years ago. This directly relates to the further development of the entire earthly civilization, and in order for us to be able to explain our interest on Earth to you, we want to tell you more about who we are. First of all, it must be clarified that reptilians are not a separate civilization. It is a form of three-dimensional life. Just as humanoids are creatures with a body shape similar to humans, we are creatures resembling lizards, or reptiles, as they are called in biology. And those reptile animals that live on Earth, outwardly really look very much like us. In this form, we exist on many other planets on which three-dimensional life once originated. Moreover, we are often the main form of life on such planets and create our own civilizations. Sometimes we coexist with humanoids, and then in a civilization both races coexist, which can even mix with each other. What is the reason for such our prevalence in the galaxy? The fact is that reptiles are a very convenient form for organizing three-dimensional life. In its convenience, it is not inferior to the humanoid form, and in many ways even surpasses it. The humanoid form was chosen by the hierarchy as the most convenient for the implementation of the Universal Galactic Development Plan. Therefore, many civilizations in the galaxy that are successfully developing according to this plan, such as the Orions and Pleiadians, are often humanoids. The convenience of a human-like body is associated with the release of the forelimbs. As a result, it becomes possible to influence physical reality in different ways and change it. For example, Orion civilization, due to this, made a breakthrough in the technologies on which their entire existence is now built. The Pleiadians also used another opportunity of the humanoid body, associated with its vertical arrangement. Energetically, this position best tunes the upper chakras of the body to interact with the higher levels of consciousness on which the galactic teachers are located. It is on this connection that the entire development of the Pleiades civilization is built, which throughout their history maintain a reliable connection with their masters. It would seem that these two features of the humanoid body already provide everything necessary for development. Why, then, had to create a second form, reptilians? We were conceived as a parallel branch of development, which can harmoniously complement our humanoid capabilities. And the first convenient property of our body is that, being located horizontally, with our chakras, we can best tune into the horizontal flows of energies. The vertical energy flows that you perceive will connect the sky with the earth, the higher levels of consciousness with the three-dimensional, and therefore each person in himself is a conductor between cosmic and terrestrial forces. Horizontal streams of energy connect different natural phenomena with each other, and we are those who maintain these relationships. With our body, we can strengthen these flows and direct, and were originally created in order to interact with the forces of nature. We directly exist at the level of natural energies and therefore are so well adapted to the natural environment. And if people, like other humanoids, devoted their entire development to building their own environment for existence. Then reptilians chose the path of adjustment to the natural environment. All our development on any planet is based on interaction with natural energies, and we gain all our opportunities thanks to this. For example, that is why we received such a distribution on Earth in the era of dinosaurs. We existed in water, and on Earth, and in the air, in almost every natural element. Aligning ourselves with natural energies, we learn how to use their support to transform our bodies and change their biological parameters, thanks to which our biological evolution always happens very quickly. Our body is very sensitive to any change in the environment and adapts to it. A huge number of our varieties that previously existed on Earth are connected with this. In a similar way, we still exist on many other planets, where our development has been going on for billions of years, and there our diversity has reached amazing manifestations. For example, we have learned to live in high temperatures or in permafrost. At the same time, we adapt to external conditions no longer physically, but at the energy level, changing our physiology. And if, for example, mammals insulate themselves with wool at low temperatures or start internal heating, as if abstracting from natural conditions, then we, on the contrary, lower the body temperature to the external environment and change our processes at the cellular level. You may know that reptiles on Earth also cannot maintain their body temperature and therefore are currently limited in their distribution. But on other planets this is not a limitation. We learn how to quickly change the metabolism of our cells, and with sudden changes in external conditions, we begin to use other biochemical reactions and even other organic substances. At the energy level, however, there is a subtle adjustment to the natural energies that help adjust the physiological processes inside the body. Each of us can do this, in connection with which we are not attached to any one living environment and can freely move around the planet. Moreover, due to natural energies, we have learned not only to change the body temperature, but even its shape and size. We do this as easily as a chameleon changes color, but at the same time we can vary within very wide limits. For example, if one of us has a desire to move into the water, then a fin will grow on the back, and membranes will appear on the paws. If desired, we can even open the gills again, as was done with our ancestor, fish. And if someone wants to rise from the earth into the air, then we will transform the forelimbs into wings. This happens, of course, not instantly, but in a matter of hours due to the active regeneration of our body. For this short time, we seem to freeze, and inside we are actively dividing cells. Old cells die, new ones are born and change the shape of our body. This is similar to how snakes on Earth lose skin, only we have learned to do it of our own free will, and at the same time completely update all the tissues of our body. Similar processes of updating occur constantly in our body, and for this we do not need to freeze. We can maintain our growth throughout life and reach gigantic proportions, hundreds of meters. And most of these of us live in water. We can begin to decrease and gradually become less than a millimeter. Often we do this in order to minimize the cost of energy coming to us from the natural environment. In this state, we can fall asleep, temporarily stopping all our biological processes, being covered with a thick protective shell. At the same time, we form a cocoon. But, again, if reptiles on Earth fall asleep when their life opportunities cannot ensure their existence, then we do this at will. In this form, in the form of the smallest disputes, we can move between planets in conditions of absolute vacuum, or just stop your biological existence for a while, waiting for the right moment in order to wake up. But we do this only in exceptional cases. For example, if the planet itself does not need to maintain its natural environment anymore. In this case, we decide not to waste its energy, and fall asleep until better times or move to other planets. On the same planets on which nature is actively developing, we also exist very actively, while the flow of natural energies that supports us does not limit the duration of our lives. The cells of our body are constantly updated, and therefore they are not subject to aging. On the other hand, if one of us decides that he did everything he wanted in this incarnation, then he can easily dissolve his physical body, and then all his material energy merges with the flows of natural elements, and consciousness goes into other worlds. Thus, during our development, we cease to depend on biological evolution, like humans. And if humanoids could simply stop evolution by creating their own environment, then we did it when we learned to change the parameters of our body at our own request. And such opportunities have opened up thanks to tuning to natural energies. Of course, we, like you, exist on the basis of matter, and we need to replenish its supply in ourselves. Nevertheless, in the course of our development, we reorganized our biological processes so that we exist on the basis of natural energies, and we need matter only as a building material. For these purposes, we most often eat plants that regenerate just as easily as we do. In fact, reptilians, like humanoids, are the end point of biological evolution. Moreover, evolution on different planets can be launched for a different purpose. If life on a three-dimensional planet exists as a support for spiritual evolution, then the crown of creation often becomes the shape of a humanoid, which provides the exit of consciousness to higher levels. If biological life exists to support the forces of nature on the planet, then evolution comes to the form of reptilians. On some three-dimensional planets, evolution starts only in one of two directions, but then restrictions may arise as a result. For example, a civilization that exists only in the form of humanoids can break away from the natural environment and be without its support. Civilization, consisting only of reptilians, can actively develop its physical qualities and maintain the natural environment, but at the same time not realize many of its other capabilities. Therefore, the greatest potential for development in civilization opens up when two forms coexist on the planet, humanoids and reptilians. At first they develop in parallel to each other, and after their biological development reaches an endpoint, they can combine their capabilities. In this case, humanoids continue to improve in technology and spiritual development, and reptilians, in interaction with natural energies. And, despite the fact that biological evolution ends there, development does not stop, but rather accelerates. Unfortunately, while such a joint development took place only occasionally, and now only in a few civilizations of the galaxy, humanoids and reptilians coexist. This possibility was on Earth during the time of the dinosaurs, but due to an energy failure on the planet, the reptilian race was forced to leave it. In neighboring galaxies with ours, a large number of new planets are now being born, in which both branches of biological evolution are laid, which should lead to the symbiosis of humanoids and reptilians. However, in the Milky Way galaxy, reptilians exist more apart and only occasionally cooperate with other civilizations. What role do we play at the level of nature of our planets? We have the opportunity to build flows of natural energies and transform the energy of one element into another. The spirits of nature on every planet have similar capabilities, but they do it on the subtle level. We, being in the physical world, can carry out similar processes on the material level. We carry out the transformation of natural energies directly through our body due to our biochemical processes. Any physical body is a point of connection of the subtle plane and the material world, and therefore can materialize, embody the energy of the subtle plane. But at the same time, it can realize various possibilities, depending on what subtle energies it is associated with. Humanoids associated with a vertical flow materialize through their actions that energy and information that comes to them from higher levels of consciousness. For example, each person connected by his consciousness with his higher self and his masters through his body embodies his spiritual tasks in the physical world. The reptilians, connected by their body with natural elements, carry out a subtle connection between the subtle and the material, attuning these two levels to each other. Due to this, we harmonize the space of the world in which we are, and maintain its high vibrations. Thus, our entire existence is tuned to maintain natural vibrations in harmony and at the right frequency. In principle, the same role is played by any biological organism, including on your planet. It's just that usually a biological organism does not realize that it plays such a role at the level of nature. On the same planets on which we exist, all evolution is aimed at biological organisms perfecting these possibilities. And as a result, a form similar to us was born that began to realize this opportunity consciously. The high metabolism of our body is precisely connected with the high vibrations that we maintain in nature. At every point in space we start those chemical processes in our body that can best support the desired frequency. Therefore, we have developed the ability to be in every natural element and in any natural process. With our whole perception, attuning to natural vibrations, we feel well those places on the planet where nature is experiencing difficulties. These difficulties are associated with the lack of connection between the subtle plane and matter. In this case, subtle natural energy accumulates in some place and cannot be realized in the physical process. As a result, stress builds up and a decrease in vibrations occurs, which can ultimately lead to a cataclysm. For example, an earthquake can occur due to mechanical stresses in the lithosphere, and an eruption of magma, due to the accumulation of thermal energy in the depths of the planet. And if we feel that nature needs support in this place, then many of our representatives are rapidly moving to this place and, joining their efforts, create an energy field in it that builds up natural processes in a new way. It is for this that we have developed the possibility of a speedy transformation of our biological bodies. Thus, our entire existence is subject to natural phenomena and, on the one hand, we are not free in our choice, like all animals, because we are there and we are doing what helps nature at the moment. Of course, this is so, because such is our role on our planets, and we fulfill it as long as it interests us. On the other hand, reptilians build their entire development in such a way as to become more free and create opportunities for creativity. In the course of our development, we get more and more freedom due to the fact that we are joining forces with each other, contacting each other. We create between ourselves an energy resonance that maintains high vibrations on the entire planet. This resonance creates a subtle energy grid that connects all of us, existing inseparably from nature itself. This grid is our collective energy, at the level of which we telepathically communicate with each other. Due to it, we learn how to organize the processes of harmonization of the planet's field and made them as convenient as possible for ourselves. Due to such a common field, having tuned in with each other, we can help increase the vibrations of the entire planet. And at such a level of development of our civilization, each of us can be where he wants to, and help the common task as he is interested in at the moment. Having received such freedom at the general field level, each reptiloid can now develop further in its ability to raise the vibrations of nature. At this level, each of us is already reaching the level of creativity, learning to feel even more subtle natural energies and find new ways to raise their vibrations. Thus, each of us gradually becomes a master, capable of raising vibrations instantly and with the least expenditure of our own efforts. In fact, our collective field is an analog of your social system, which on the subtle plane creates interconnections between all people. Your system was also originally created in order to make each of you more free, in the best way, distributing tasks between you according to your desires and abilities. And the main difference between our and your system is only in the different tasks that they perform. By joining forces, humanity is fulfilling the development plan that was once created by your spiritual teachers. Our energy system is the material support of that nature, on the basis of which we exist. As a result of all our development, the planets on which we live receive more and more reliable support and protection and significantly raise their vibrations. This is already happening in many places where reptilian civilizations exist. However, why are we all doing this? What is the common goal of increasing natural vibrations on our planets? We create the best conditions for life on our planets, and not only for ourselves, but for all other life forms. Therefore, it is due to communication with other life forms and their support that all our further development takes place. Our representatives exist on different planets located both in the Milky Way galaxy and beyond. On them we exist either in alliance with other civilizations, or we develop independently. The largest reptilian civilization in our galaxy is located near the Alpha Dragon star, and those of us who exist on the planets surrounding it were called dragons. This reptilian civilization is also the oldest, which gave rise to all the rest, younger. At different periods of the development of the galaxy, the Draconians helped other civilizations to develop, concluding a temporary alliance with them. And then, with the support of other three-dimensional civilizations that had aircraft, reptilians from Alpha Dragon moved to other star systems. For example, our representatives helped many humanoids, including the Pleiadians, to move to a new stage of development. We also collaborated on this with representatives of Orion, but here our union experienced many difficulties, which we will discuss later. In addition, over the billions of years of its existence, Draconians have developed their own methods of rapid movement in outer space and thus populated many other three-dimensional planets. With respect to all of humanity, reptiles of the galaxy,